Hi, boys and girls. This is a quick little video that I wanted to make to help you with your homework tonight or your classwork today. I was doing a live lesson with my group and we got interrupted by a fire drill, and I tried to do another one later on in the day, and we had, again, another fire drill. So I'll get this set up and then get back to you. So Tommy said adding and subtracting are related. Is he right? Explain why or why not. So with my class today, we were talking a lot about this, and some people said they're different because one goes up, one goes down, and we started talking about fact families. Something like 7 plus 5 equals 12. We talked about, well, if I know that 7 plus 5 equals 12, and they're saying, well, you start with 7, you add 5, and you get a bigger number. And I would kind of talk to them about what are some other related math facts that we would know. Like I would then also know that there's another way that I can add, and I can still get to 12. I could also do 5 plus 7. Okay, so all that's changed here is where the 5 and the 7 are. But so far we've only done adding. And we got into this kind of good discussion. Well, what are some other things we could do but going in the other direction? If we're starting with 12, right, what can I subtract? And again, it's just going to be those same three numbers again. It's just 7, 5, and 12. 5, 7, and 12. I already have my 12. I can subtract 5 and end up with 7. Well, again, I can do our last math fact. I'll pick a different color. I can do 12. Didn't switch. I can do 12 minus 7 equals 5. So they are kind of related in a way. I said in a way they're kind of like they kind of undo each other. They're called an inverse relationship. If you had $7 and someone gave you 5 more, you did some chores around the house, you now have 12. Then you take your $12. If you spend the 5, you're now back to 7 where you began. So that's kind of how they are related. And I'll kind of show you how you would type that up in a second. I'll get rid of the effect. So now when I'm typing in one of these interactive documents, what you do is you click on the box. You would use your mouse on your computer. I'm using my finger here. You get this blue outline. And then for me, my keyboard is right here. It should be. Okay. And then I can click in here. I'm going to erase what was already there. And then I'd be able to start. I won't, right? I can make a full nice sentence, adding and subtracting. A little harder to type on this one. Are related. And then I would get in those examples we were just talking about before. Using fact families, talking about how they're the opposite of each other. They kind of cancel each other out. Some people say one goes forward, one goes backwards, but still they kind of move in that same way. Okay, so that's going to be, you're going to do something similar on your paper for multiplying and dividing. The next slide will be a word problem. I think it's, again, your second slide. Again, so I wrote up a story. Over the weekend, Ayla sent Carter 7 messages. She also sent Kendall 5 messages, Addison 4 messages, and Reagan 2 messages. How many messages did Ayla send over the weekend? When we were going to this in class, people were able to figure out, again, you isolate those important pieces of information. There's 7, 5 more, 4 more, and 2 more. And so the students were very good. They were telling me that you can do 7 plus 5 plus 4 plus 2. And we added that up. 7 and 5 is 12, plus 4 more is 16, plus 2 is 18. So you're going to kind of do that scrap paper workout. And then again, you're going to click on the gray box with your mouse. You get this blue outline. You sometimes have to click it again to get that little black one. And then my answer is 18 messages. Again, and then that part would be done. Then this one was probably my favorite page from the homework assignment. I just picked one example, but I think you had to do 2 or 3. It's called a roll the dice activity. And I know a lot of kids said, well, you don't have dice. We were able to figure it out. On your screen, you'll click on the little picture of the dice with your mouse. And for me, I needed a quick little link. It says random.org. And when I click on that, it's going to bring me to a website that's basically going to spin or roll 3 dice for me. You'll notice right now it's 6, 3, and 6. I'm going to hit roll again. And now I got 6, 3, and 4. I'm going to then go back over here, and that's going to be my first number set. Okay. I think I had 6, I had 3, and I had 4. Okay. Now what it wants to do, it wants me to figure out what's the largest number I can make using 6, 3, and 4. And I'll write those nice and big for you to see. So my numbers are 6, 3, and 4. Okay. So the biggest number I can make, I want to start with the biggest number. The biggest digit I have is 6, followed by 4, and then followed by 3. Over here on the other side, I'm going to do the same thing, but the opposite. Now I want to go with the lowest or the smallest or the least amount that I could ever make. I think of like a contest. The best prize would be $643. The worst prize would kind of be that number flipped around. You want the worst one would be getting 300. Getting 3, 4, and then 6. Okay. And then here you're going to add. So what I would add, you're going to add both numbers together. So now I have 643. I'm going to add to that 346. You just end up with 9, 8, and then 9. So that's what would go in that section there. When I add them together, I got 989. And then I'm going to subtract them. And when I subtract, go back to my red, it's going to be 60. You always want to take the bigger number first here, 643. I'm going to subtract 346. And I would ask myself there, again, if I have 3, can I give you 6 of something? And I can't. I don't have 6 things to give you. So I would go and I would borrow from over here. Now I have 13. I open up a whole new 10-pack of markers. Now I have 13 markers. I have 3 plus that whole other pack. Now that I have 13 markers, now I can give you 6. And there would be 7 left over. 3 minus 4 I can't do. So again, I have to borrow. Make that a 5 and a 13. 13 minus 4 is 9. And then 5 minus 3 is 2. So when I subtract, I get an answer of 297. I'm just going to write it with the marker for now. 297. Okay, and then I'll flip to the next slide in a second. So now I'm going to round these two numbers to the nearest 10 and then the nearest 100. So if I start with the number 842, and I already wrote these out to try to save time, right, my two choices, I'm either going to round it down to 840 if that's what I'm closer to, or I'm going to round up to 850 if that's the one I'm closer to. And the one that tells me the really important number here is the one that comes after the tens place. It's all about what's in the ones place. That number in the ones place is a 0 through 4. I go down. That number in the ones place is a 5 through 9. I go up. And in this case, we had a 0 through 4. So since I wasn't halfway to 850, I would go down. Again, because if you're 5 or above, you're halfway or more to that next one. So for that first box here, I would pick 850. 40. And now if I'm rounding 842 to the nearest 100, my goal is to make a number that has 2 zeros in it, or at least 2 zeros in it, right? And I have to figure out if I'm at 842, my two choices are going to be, am I closer to 800 or am I closer to 900? And I have to kind of think about that again, and I'm going to look at that next number that comes after it. In this case, this is the hundreds place, so the important number is actually here, the 4. And that's my same 0 to 4 rule. You go down, 5 to 9, you go up. Again, 850 would be halfway, or my midpoint between 800 and 900. I'm a little bit under that, so I have to round down to 800. Then that would be the number I would put in the box. So now I'm going to try to see if I can do both of these at the same time. So I have 361. The nearest 10 I did in green. That means the 6 is either going to stay a 6 or it's going to bump up 1. And that 1 is the number that tells me what to do. In this case, my 1 is one of my lower ones. I'm not halfway. 0 through 4, round down. So for that one, I'm going to pick 360. I'm just a little tiny bit above it, so that's the one that I'm closer to. And for time, I'll just write that over here. And then for 361, I did that in black. I'm trying to figure out, again, am I more than halfway there? And that 6 is what tells me that. That 6 is the one that tells me. And 0 through 4, I round down, which we've been doing. This one, though, is in that 5 to 9 category. Again, 350 is that midpoint. 361 is above it. That means I have more than half of the 100. So in this case, I would want to pick 400. And then the last slide is going to be all about finding the area of a rectangle. And I share with you up here that to find the area, you do length times width. That's just the two different sides. The length here is 8 and the width is 3. So I'm just going to put those in there. Okay, we're going to do A equals whatever 8 times 3 is. And in this case, you do 8 plus 8, 16, plus 8 more, 24. So that's what's going to go in my box. Okay, I would have 24 square centimeters. Technical difficulty. Okay, so then you would click on the box. I know it moved on me. Back to my keyboard and put in, it's not going to work for some reason. I'm just going to write the number 24 in there. Okay, because that's just 8 times, so you take this number, you times it by that number. I know probably last year you learned it kind of this way, where you do 3 blocks that way. And if I was to sit there and count them all up, I made 8 rows this way, 3 rows that way, there would be a total of 24 of them. Okay, and then I'll show you the next one in a minute. And then this is the last one. So now I have a box, and they're telling me over here that the area is 50 square meters. I use my same formula from up here, area equals length times width. And I already know the area. I know that that is 50. And I know one of the sides, I know the width is 5. And this, it might be hard to see on your screen, but that's a question mark. You'll see that sometimes in math. It means a missing amount or amount I'm not sure about. And I'm trying to figure out, well, what does that side have to be? It has to be whatever that side is times 5 to make the 50. And if you sit there and you skip count by 10, or sorry, skip count by 5, you just gave the answer away. Okay, or some of you might know the trick that when you put that 0 on the end, that means you times it by 10. That would be my missing dimension. This has to be a 10 for this to work. So you almost like substitute it in there. 5 times what equals 50? Well, it has to be 10. change. It has to be 10. So that's what I would put in that last box. That final box, again, just gonna write it. So in that final box, I just put the number 10. And I know a lot of kids in my group said this is really hard. Like I said, my lesson kept getting interrupted by fire drills, but I told them just to do the best they can. Even they could just do 1, 2, maybe 3 of the 5 slides that you had to work on. Like I think everyone should be able to do roll the dice. The area perimeter, again, the area one is mostly just multiplying or figuring out the missing piece like this. And I like them just to try kind of at least one of the other 3. If you have any questions, you can always give me a call. Thanks.